Cybersecurity Today is brought to you by the generous support of our sponsor, Beauceron Security. You can get their 2024 State of Cybersecurity Awareness Report at beauceronsecurity.com, and there's a link you can follow in the show notes.
Data may have been stolen in London Drugs cyber attack. Congressional testimony today by United Health CEO on a ransomware attack, and more. Welcome to Cybersecurity Today. It's Wednesday, May 1st, 2024. I'm Howard Solomon, contributing reporter on cybersecurity for TechNewsDay.com. London Drugs, a Western Canadian drugstore chain, is still trying to recover from what it calls a cybersecurity incident that was discovered on the weekend. On Tuesday afternoon, when this podcast was recorded, the company said in a tweet that all of its stores were still closed and phone lines disconnected until it can get on top of the attack. But the company now says it's investigating if any data might have been compromised in the attack. That's a change from Monday, when it said at the time there was no reason to believe that customer or employee data had been impacted. London Drugs is similar to Walmart in that it not only has pharmacies, but also sells a wide range of consumer and electronic products. It has 80 stores across 4 Canadian provinces and more than 9,000 employees. Expect fireworks this afternoon at a U.S. Congressional Committee hearing. United Health Group CEO Andrew Whitty is scheduled to testify about February's ransomware attack. The Alpha V Black Cat gang hit a division called Change Healthcare that provides billing and data services to hospitals and clinics across the U.S. The incident caused financial woes in the healthcare sector. When Whitty appears, committee members will be armed with a copy of his opening statement, which says the attackers used compromised credentials to break into a portal protected with a Citrix application, but portal logins weren't protected with multi-factor authentication. United Health bought Change Healthcare 2 years ago. Whitty also says the decision to pay a ransom to get access back to stolen and encrypted data was his. The number of victims impacted by the incident would be equal to a substantial portion of people in America, Whitty says. Developers using the R program language are urged to update their version fast because of a vulnerability. Researchers at Hidden Layer say the open source environment often used for statistical computing has a hole that could allow an attacker who creates a malicious RDS file to execute code. Developers should upgrade to version 4.4. R is widely used in healthcare, finance, and government IT departments. The U.S. Federal Communications Commission has levied almost $200 million in fines against Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon for selling customers' real-time location information to data brokers without the subscriber's consent. The fines had been proposed 4 years ago. To comply with a European law, Apple is allowing users of its devices in the EU to get apps not only from the Apple Store, but also from other app marketplaces. However, researchers at an app maker called Misk says the way Apple allows this through its Safari browser is clumsy. In fact, they argue Apple's approach can expose iPhone users in the EU to being tracked. That's because the Safari solution doesn't allow the origin of a marketplace website to be checked against the site's URL. The Brave browser does that. The United Kingdom's new cybersecurity product protection legislation came into effect on Monday. Manufacturers selling equipment in the UK are forbidden from allowing easy-to-guess default passwords and have to provide a point of contact so people can report security issues. Is it time for your state or province to adopt a similar law? JP Morgan is notifying almost 452,000 people of a data breach caused by employees or their agents. The financial giant acts as a benefits payment agent for an unnamed company, 3 people used their access to create reports with plan participation information, including names, addresses, social security numbers, and certain personal financial information. The Philadelphia Inquirer is notifying more than 25,000 people their personal information was copied in a hack just over a year ago. Information stolen included names, financial account or credit and debit card numbers, as well as security codes, passwords, or PIN numbers for the accounts. Governments in the US, Britain, and elsewhere offer a number of free cybersecurity tools for businesses. The Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity has just released its latest, a platform called Howler. It's an open-source application to help Security Operations Center teams triage and investigate incidents, suspect files, and alerts. In simple terms, it's a workflow management system. A triage analyst watching for suspect actions can rank incidents and assign work for further investigation. Filters can also be created so teams can automatically dismiss known scenarios and focus on critical issues. You don't have to be a Canadian to get Howler. It can be downloaded by anyone with a GitHub account. And finally, as I mentioned last week, tomorrow is World Password Day. It's a day that IT leaders should think about whether their organization uses the most effective password strategies to protect against logins by threat actors. That includes making a phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication solution mandatory for all employees, giving each employee a password manager so they can create and store complex passwords without having to memorize them, and looking at alternatives to passwords like biometric authentication. That's it for now. Links to details about news mentioned in this podcast episode are in the text version at technewsday.com. Follow Cybersecurity Today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or add us to your flash briefing on your smart speaker. Thanks for listening. I'm Howard Solomon.